Hi, my name is Sunny Bakama and I'm one of Allen Hancock College's part-time faculty librarians. Today you're going to be learning about Allen Hancock College Library's catalogue with a focus on how to find books for Bulldogs textbooks. So I'll share the college's screen with you. Okay, so obviously this is the college's website, and to get to the library's website, you would have to select library at the top of the page here. And I just want to mention to please be sure to explore all of the library's web pages in your own time, as they provide a wealth of helpful information. So we have a very helpful video just here to do with the basics of searching the catalogue. So that would be really useful for you to watch in your own time. I'm just going to select this guide link. This is the guide to the library's catalogue, which is very useful. Here's the video again. So OneSearch is a relatively new library catalogue and search tool, and it allows you to search print and ebooks, electronic sources, digital collections, and more. With this diagram that you can see here, you can see that OneSearch enables you to search for all of the library's books and media, but not quite all of its articles. We have more information here about where you can find more articles, etc. So why do we use the actual catalogue? Okay, so most items in our collection have a record in the catalogue, so that enables us to know what we have and to be able to find the items. And this LibGuide actually has a Books for Bulldogs section. I'll just select that. So what is Books for Bulldogs? What's that program? It's actually a free service that allows currently enrolled Allen Hancock College students to borrow textbooks for an entire semester, okay? So I'm going to select this link to lead us to information about the program, but just be aware this LibGuide exists, and this actually walks through step by step how to go about finding and putting on hold a Books for Bulldog text. But I'll be going through that with you shortly as well. Okay, so we'll just go to information about the actual program. So this is our Books for Bulldogs webpage. This section here explains how to go about requesting a book from the Books for Bulldogs program. Here are some rules and guidelines. So it says here, currently enrolled Allen Hancock College students are able to borrow textbooks, as I mentioned before. You're limited to 3 textbooks a student. There's no guarantee that they will be available as supply is limited. The program doesn't carry course packets or access codes. Book orders are filled in the order requests are received. So if someone has placed a request before you, they'll have first priority to that book. You can place requests for spring. Oh, that's from 2021, sorry. Oh, and it's got 2022 here. Sorry about the confusion. So you can place requests right up to the 2nd of May of this spring semester. Okay. So here we have the book pickup instructions. So it says here, beginning January the 24th, you're welcome to come and pick up your requested items during normal business hours. And I'll just show you the library's current hours. Let's go back to the library's homepage. And here we have our spring hours listed here. Santa Maria Campus Library is open Monday to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m, Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the Lompoc Valley Centre Campus Library is open Monday to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m, Tuesday to Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, I'll just go. Now, to get back to the Books for Bulldogs page, and another way of accessing the page actually is to go under the research heading. We would go to Books for Bulldogs, and that leads us to that page we were just on. So once you've placed a request on a Books for Bulldogs text, items not picked up after 1 week on the hold shelf will be placed back into the collection. And here we have information about book return instructions for spring 2022. You need to get those back by Wednesday, the 25th of May, okay? And it says here, blocks will actually be placed in all student library accounts for overdue items that are not returned and will remain in place until items are returned to the library. Okay. So here we have book lending program facts. So, and most of this information here is similar to what I've just gone through on the previous web page. But you might just want to have a look at that. And here we have a list of available books. So this leads us to the library's catalogue, and I'll be showing you shortly in the catalogue how to go about finding the Books for Bulldogs textbooks. And this leads us to that LibGuide I was showing you before. It shows you all about the library's catalogue. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the library's homepage. Okay, and we're going to go to the library's catalogue. So there's two ways to access the library's catalogue. You can either enter your search terms in this search bar here, or under the research heading, you can go to Library Catalogue, OneSearch. I'll select that. And it's really important that you sign into your My Hancock account to be able to get access to all of the catalogue's features. So you can sign in by selecting the sign in option up there, or the menu tab. And you can then select library card and Hancock College SSO. It was quick for me to sign in because I'm already signed in to my Hancock account. Here are the library account features, okay? So it would show, I don't have anything checked out, but it would show any loans you have here, any items you've placed requests on, any fines and fees, blocks and messages, etc. So it is useful. I'm going to go through an example search now. So I'll select new search. And I'm going to select the magnifying glass. and the down arrow. And then to look for Books for Bulldogs text, you would select that. Books for Bulldogs. Okay, so I'm going to look for a biology, Books for Bulldogs text. So I'm going to enter biology up here. So we have 6 results, as you can see. Notice how only the Books for Bulldogs texts have been retrieved from our catalogue, from our collection. Notice the various headings we have under Refine My Results. So, you can choose these different options to search by, particularly in terms of looking for your Books for Bulldogs textbooks. Course instructor would be useful. It lists all the instructors who teach biology, okay? Course name, course code. So these would all obviously be helpful to you. I'm going to, for instance, select Jennifer Morris. I'm interested in a textbook from her class. And now we have less results. We've got 2 results because these are only textbooks to do with Jennifer Morris's class, okay, or classes. And I'm interested in the 2017 edition of Principles of Human Physiology. So I'll select that. So this is what the record of the textbook looks like. We can see it's a Books for Bulldogs textbook. Notice the course information under details. So we know it's for biology 125. So, you would be confirming that, yes, this is the correct textbook for my class. Okay. So here we have the name of the course and then the instructors that teach this course, which you may see for some of these Books for Bulldogs records. So if this isn't the correct textbook, you could select the cross, and then it would lead you back to this page, and then you would go about trying to find your correct book. So I'm just going to select that same book again, because it is the one that I require in this example. So you can place a hold on the book or request it if it actually says it's available. I'm just going to go back to locations. So we can see it's available here, okay? So you would select that. We can see it's a green available. And then you should select where it says request in blue next to one where it says item in place, preferably 0 requests. That's the best option. It is still possible to place a request on something that's got more than 0 requests, but it's best to do it with 0 requests because you would then obviously have first preference to the book. No one would be ahead of you in getting that book, okay? So you can see these are on loan, these copies here. It says on loan. So we've got two textbooks that are available. So I'd select request for this. And then I would choose my pickup location. So I'm going to say I want to pick it up from the San Maria Campus Library. And then I would select send request, okay? Now I'll show you what happens once you've done that, because I don't want to actually place a request on this book. So if we return to the library's LibGuide, And then on the Books for Bulldogs page, I'm just going to scroll down, and it says, for more information on requesting a book, please go to our guide on the subject. So I'll select that. It's also in the menu, requesting books. So that's what I just did then. I've selected send request, and then you will receive, if your request is accepted, you will receive this message. You'll see that on your screen. Your request was successfully placed. And the book will also now appear under your library card in your account, okay? So I'll show you where you would actually see that. So I'll go back to the catalogue, just close out of that. So in your library account, if I placed a request on that book, you would go to my requests just to check that it's there, and it would actually appear there, okay? So remember, as I mentioned to you before, Books for Bulldogs, textbooks, they can get checked out for the entire semester. And, you know, you saw when they're due for this semester on the Books for Bulldogs page. But when you go and pick it up from the library, you're going to be told, and you'll most likely get a slip with the due date on it when you actually check out the book, okay? Now I'll just return to the catalogue. I'll do another example search for you. So I'll select new search. So I'm going to actually search for a title of a book. I'm interested in the Books for Bulldogs textbook. Well, this is actually a novel. It's called Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I'll just enter part of the title. I think Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll is all that would be necessary. And this time I'm going to select, just to show you, just for purposes of this example, so you can see what actually comes up in the results. I'm going to select articles, books, and more. So that's everything in our catalogue. So we have a lot of results, 2,153 results, okay? So as you can see, we have a variety of types of resources. We have online texts, we have course reserves, Books for Bulldogs, popular reading, okay? So there's a whole lot of versions of the text. Okay. And, you know, seeing as we do have other options available apart from course reserves, you know, unless you only needed to view the book for a short period of time in the library, you wouldn't be selecting course reserves, that option, because you can't actually take those books out of the library. They can only be used in the library for 2 hours at a time. Okay, so I'm going to select the Books for Bulldogs version of the book. And this is what the record looks like. We can see the course information is for English. We can see that we have 2 copies that actually are available, item in place at the moment. We've got 1 copy that's on loan. So then in order to place a request on one of those copies, you would just select, sometimes the screen just would look like that without the request next to the actual book. You would just select request up here, and then you would select your location, okay, where you want to pick it up, and then send request, as I showed you before, okay? So that's all pretty straightforward. So I'll just go out of that. Okay, so I'm just going to return to the library's homepage. So another place you could possibly find the textbooks you're after, if you couldn't get a print copy, for instance, a Books for Bulldogs copy, you might want to check out our ebook databases. So under the research heading, we have ebooks here. So as you can see, it says that Allen Hancock College Library provides 5 collections of ebooks. So these are all our ebook databases. However, I think Bibliu is the best database for textbooks. Overdrive is great, particularly if you're after a novel. And of course, it's still worth searching in the other databases if Bibliu and Overdrive don't have what you're after, certainly. And just note, it says for off-campus access to ebooks, you will be asked to enter your My Hancock username and password, okay? So I'll just briefly show you Bibliu. So Bibliu, it enables you to browse the various titles here. You can also search for your books up here. So I'm going to search for Introductory Chemistry. Actually, it's come up. So yeah, I'm after this copy. So I'll select that. Okay, I was looking at this book before, so that's why it's popped up within one of the chapters. But if you go to the table of contents, you can go to any section of the book that you wish. I'll go to the cover page. Okay, and you can, go to the next section of the book if you select that. You can go to previous sections too, as you can see. We have various tools up here that leads you back to the search results. That's a table of contents, as I was showing you before. You can search for different topics within the book, which that's useful. For instance, if I searched atom, this will bring up different sections of the book that's got atom. We also have annotations. You can make annotations. So to create a note, select some text in the reader and choose a highlight color, and it'll add a comment from the menu that appears. So, for instance, I could select this. I'll highlight that. And then I could make a note. I'll just put important. Save. Okay. So then I can see my note. Yeah, but I'll just delete that. There are also tools here. We've got settings. You can read it aloud. There's more options here. For instance, you could read it offline, which downloads it. So it allows you to save the book online. We have references as well. etc. So with the references, that shows you how to create a citation for this text. So you could copy and paste this to your works cited list or references, etc. But just be aware that you know, it is advisable to check the citation thoroughly, that this is correct. It may not be 100% correct. Okay, so, you know, Bibliu, this is a very, very useful resource. Just return to the libraries page. All right, so I actually have a worksheet that you could go through to test your skills to do with this workshop. So I'll just stop this share and I'll share the actual worksheet with you. Okay. So here we have the worksheet. So we have 5 questions here. I'll just go through them with you. So the first question here, you're searching for one of your textbooks in the library's catalogue. So remember, you know, if you can't, if you've forgotten sort of how to search for a Books for Bulldogs textbook, here we have the web address for the LibGuide. And just remember to get to that LibGuide. I'll just stop the share of this. Sorry about that. To get to the LibGuide, you would have to go to, the guide is there. And yeah, it shows you how to search for a Books for Bulldogs book on that page, okay? I'll just stop the share and I'll go back to the worksheet. So in this activity, you would be searching for one of your textbooks in the Allan Hancock College Libraries catalogue. And I would like you to write down the search terms you use and any catalogue options you use. For question 2, answer yes or no if your textbook came up in the library catalogue's results as a Book for Bulldogs title. If it did, explain step by step how would you go about placing a request on the book. If you answered no, if it didn't come up, explain another way you could possibly search for the book and how you would go about doing that. Question 3, explain the 2 ways in which you would know that you've successfully placed a request on a book. 4, state how you would expect the library to contact you when your book is available for pickup. And 5, how long can you check out a Books for Bulldogs textbook? Okay. So I'll just, I might as well just go through the types of answers that I would expect with this worksheet. So obviously for the search terms, for the first question, you would be using search terms to do with the title, author, keywords related to the textbook. And the catalogue options would be selecting the Books for Bulldogs option in the search bar's drop-down list, how I showed you. And actually, I'll just show you that now. I'll go through each question and show you how to go about answering those. So I'll stop the share once again, and I'll share this page. Go back to the library's homepage, and we'll go back into the catalogue. So whenever you're doing something on the catalogue, as I said before, make sure you're signed in. So you have, access to all of the catalogue's features. So I'll just do the biology example again. So I'll select the magnifying glass, and then you'd select Books for Bulldogs. That's the catalogue option you would be using. And then biology, enter. And then for question 1, how it's asking you, so you're writing down the search terms and any catalogue options you used. So Books for Bulldogs would be one of your catalogue options. And then if you use any of these other options under Refine My Results, okay? So for question 2, answer yes or no if your textbook came up in the library's catalogue results as a Books for Bulldogs title. So if you answered yes, explain step by step how you would go about placing a request on the book. So as I was showing you before, this LibGuide here, if we go to requesting books, this is how you would be placing the request on the book. Make sure that you're signed in, okay? Otherwise you won't be able to place the request. This is all the information about that. Now, it says for question 2 for the Test Your Skills worksheet, if you answered no, explain another way that you could search for the book and how you would go about doing that. Well, remember how recently I showed you the library's ebooks webpage, so that's what you would be, how you would be answering that question. So you would go to the ebooks webpage, which is located under the research heading. So as I mentioned to you before, Bibliu is the best database to search for textbook, but if it's a novel, Overdrive is really effective. And, the other databases are worth searching as well. Another important part of that answer for question 2 would be for off-campus access to ebooks, you'll be asked to enter your My Hancock username and password to access those. Okay, so question 3, explain the 2 ways in which you would know that you've successfully placed a request on a book. So we'll go back to that LibGuide. So it says here, if the request is accepted, you'll see your request was successfully placed, and the book will now appear under your library card in your account. Question 4, state how you would expect the library to contact you when your book is available for pickup. Okay, I apologise I didn't show you this before, but it's got it on this same page. You will be noted via your Hancock email when your item is available to pick up from the library you selected. And question 5, that's a simple one. And it mentions it up here on the top of the Books for Bulldogs page. How long can you check out a Books for Bulldogs textbook for? Enrolled Allen Hancock College students can borrow those textbooks for an entire semester, okay? So that's the Test Your Skills worksheet. I hope that all made sense. So I've come to the end of the workshop. If you need additional help at all, with the Books for Bulldogs program and searching for your textbooks or anything else related to the library. Here, we have the library's homepage once again. As you can see, we have chat here. If it says it's available, you would be entering your chat question here, sorry. And as long as a librarian is on duty, they would be answering your question. So you would be entering your questions in the chat box. If you're not, if you're not in the library, this is a really great way to contact librarians. But by all means, you can certainly go to the library too. You can also text using your phone. This is the chat's text number, okay? Here are hours, as I mentioned before, for both libraries. If you want to visit in person too, certainly you're welcome to do that. We also have hours and location listed here. Under expert research assistance, I'm just going to select here, ask a librarian. So here we have, once again, information about chat. We have information here for each of the campuses with their phone numbers and the email address. You can submit a research question here, and this will go to the library's email. If you have a more in-depth research question, you could go to virtual research consultation. Okay. So it supports assignments and they're tailored to meet your particular needs. So, this virtual research consultation could be set up on Zoom, for instance. Contact us at least one day prior to request your research consultation. Submit a request for each research consultation you would like to schedule. Explain if it's for an assignment, what types of resources you need. And then you would fill in your information here and select submit. Another way, that you can get help is by contacting me directly. That's perfectly fine. So you would go under libraries, your library staff. And my name is listed here, Sunny Bakama. The best way to contact me would be by my work email listed there. Okay, so just stop sharing. I really hope that you found this workshop to be useful. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact library staff or me personally, that's fine. And I wish you all the best with your semester. Thank you so much.